Hi everyone, it's the Comic Fan Man here, coming at you with another video. I did want to say before I get started, I am a little bit under the weather, so if you hear me sniffling or coughing, just know that I caught a little bit of a cold over the Father's Day weekend. But I'm okay, more or less I'm okay. But in the meantime, I did want to continue my series on the Hasbro Dungeons and Dragons cartoon figures. And in today's video, we're going to have a look at Presto the Magician. And yeah, I think just like the other figures, I think Hasbro really did a nice job with the way he looks. He also comes with an extra hairpiece here. This is so that it has a peg so that you can place the hat on. And another little power thing for the hat. And this really cool power swirl that attaches to his hat and hands. Very, very cool. And again, going with what they did with the other figures, we got here, Presto comes with a D4 dice. Very, very cool to add to my Dungeons and Dragons dice collection. All right, let's have a look at the figure. All right, so here is Presto with the hat on. Very cool. And as you can see, just like the other figures, I think Hasbro really did a nice job to make it look like the cartoon character. They did a really nice clean paint job on his face, his facial features, and all of the detail on the body and the sculpting. Very basic, very, like, you know, 80s cartoon. Looks very cool. They did these slits on the side, just like they did for Venger, so that you can get a little more articulation out of the legs. But as it is, this is all really, like, super tight in there. So he doesn't really articulate all that well. That was, like, the biggest complaint about these figures. But and I know Super 7 is about to start doing them, so I don't know how Super 7 is going to deal with this. But as far as the look of the character, I think it looks amazing. All of his arms and joints move around nicely, and the hat just pops off. See, this is that extra peg with that extra hair. And then this, if you want to just change hairstyles, you just pop this off. Just like that. That's what he looks like without his wig. And then you just switch hairstyles to this one. And there you go. Presto has his regular head of hair. And now you can put the hat in this hand and he holds it. And you can call up different magic. Alright, so here's one that just has the small energy. And again, it has a little space for his hand. His hand fits right in. And it looks like he's starting to do his casting. Really, really very cool. And of course, I already showed you this long one, which I really, really enjoy the look of this. This part goes into the hat. This part clips to his other hand. And it looks really cool. It looks like he's waving magic around. Alright, so did you know that Presto's real name was Albert? Yeah, I always assumed his name was Presto. I actually just found out by looking it up on the Wikipedia that his actual real name is Albert. Presto was his nickname because he liked to do tricks. And in D&D 5e, he's actually considered a wizard, not just a magician. Because there's different types of magicians. There's wizard, there's warlock, sorcerers. They all have different styles of magic. So he's actually in the wizard class. And this pouch here, I just found out this pouch is also a bag of holding from D&D. For those of you who don't know, a bag of holding basically can hold every inanimate object and, you know, weapon type things for the crew. It just all magically fits in this little bag, which is really cool. So I like all these little hidden details about these Dungeons and Dragons figures. All right, let's do some comparisons. All right, so here is Presto next to the magic user of Vox Machina, Keyleth the Druid. And yeah, as you can see, they're both green. Her powers are basically based on nature and shape-shifting into animals. But she is the one like really kind of sorcerer character in the Vox Machina. And McFarlane went ahead and did these in the 7-inch scale. So as you can see, she's a little bit bigger than Presto. But again, as these are kids, I feel like their size fits perfectly along with the 7-inch scales heroes, as just kind of like being their proteges or kids that are in their world, able to do their magic and stuff. Now, Presto in the cartoon, obviously he fails a lot using his magic, but that's because he's a level 1 wizard. Wizards in D&D do become some of the most powerful beings in the game, but they do start off very, very weak. And so in that aspect, Presto in the cartoon is very reminiscent of a level 1 wizard in Dungeons and Dragons, because they do fail quite often until they start leveling up and getting different skills. So I think that's also a really nice tie-in. All right, and here I got Presto casting a magic spell versus a Dragon Knight of D&D. This is another McFarlane Batman figure. It's the Gladiator Batman from the DC multiverse. I love these style of figures. I'm a big fan of when McFarlane Toys does fantasy aesthetic for superheroes. And yeah, so he fits very much into the D&D line, because the Dragon Knights have this color scheme where they're black, silver, and gray with a purple cape. So I think that's pretty neat, that I can actually use him as a scenario for my Dungeons and Dragons heroes like Presto here to wave his magic at him. I think that's really, really cool. All right, and finally we will have Presto learning magic from the Sorceress of Grayskull herself, the Sorceress. And as you know, one of the first episodes, if not the first episodes of Dungeons and Dragons, they had an episode where Presto was going to be trained by Merlin the Magician. And Merlin the Magician turned out to be Venger. But in the lost episode called the Requiem, which was supposed to be the official ending of the cartoon, Presto was actually the one child that stayed behind. That he didn't want to go back to the regular world. He actually wanted to stay in the Dungeons and Dragons world. So he stayed behind, and because Venger was turned back to a good guy, because he was actually Dungeon Master's son, and he somehow cursed himself into becoming Venger. The kids undid that curse, saving him, and because he turned into a good guy, Presto stayed behind to learn magic from him. So obviously I don't have a good Venger, but I do have the Sorceress from Grayskull in the Masterverse line, and I can definitely use her to start teaching him the proper magic that he's going to need to move forward. All right, so if you enjoyed this look at Presto the Magician from Dungeons and Dragons 40th anniversary cartoon by Hasbro, please give me a like and subscribe, and we'll look forward to see which one we do next. I'm trying to do them in order of which way Dungeon Master announced them. So the next one would be, I believe, the Thief, because yeah, he does Ranger, Barbarian, Magician, Thief, Cavalier, and Acrobat. Yep, so the next one should be the Thief, Sheila. All right, look forward to the next video. Thanks. See you later. Bye-bye.